What is up, everyone? My name is Jesse. This is the Auditorium. I react to video game music from games I've never played or heard about. This is a platinum request for the BRM, a new game on the series. Can you believe it? Virtua Fighter. And even more interesting is this is the only Virtua Fighter request I have. I definitely know of this game. I have never played it though, or heard the music, so that's cool. And the only reason I know about it is because this is like my, this is my era. I grew up with this, and look at those polygons. But I wasn't into 3D fighters at this stage of my life, and I already kind of outgrew Sega at this time in my life. But kind of being in the fighting game community type of thing a couple years ago, like I'm definitely aware of Virtua Fighter. I know it's still going too, so that's really cool. But I don't know anything about this game. I don't know any characters. And yeah, so this is actually my introduction almost as a whole to Virtua Fighter. This is the theme of Jacky, whoever that is. This is kind of a short one, so let's get right into it. Virtua Fighter, theme of Jacky. Oh, that sounds good, despite the year. I don't know what year exact. Oh! Kind of sound. I know it's weird, but it reminded me of like Chun-Li's theme a little bit at the beginning. Vocals? Dude, got a little dance hit on her hands. Baseline. I don't know when this was made, but it sounds very 1993, 4 right now. Like the sounds of it. Oh, I love the hand percussion. That reminds me of Chun-Li's theme. I guess it's fitting for a fighting game. You know what? It sounds very Sega, which is an odd statement because there's so many composers in that era, but it just sounds like Sega. Who is that? Dude, imagine someone puts this on in the club. No one will ever know it's from a game. They'll just start dancing to it. That bass line is kicking my ass right now. Damn you, short loops. Wow, so my introduction to Virtua Fighter is a good one. Woo! Okay, well, I am aware of one thing in the fighting game community, is that this game as a whole is not as popular as, say, like Tekken or Soul Calibur and all that. And I'm not here to debate why, but it's just it's very much known that like the community is much smaller. And I don't know why that is. I've seen it. Maybe it's just very hard to get into or something. But we're not here to talk about that. I was going to say that the music, though, shouldn't be a reason why that's the thing, because that was delightful and very unexpected. I don't know what to expect. If anything, I was thinking more of like I don't know. Well, I don't know what I was thinking. But not that. Not this like dance hit that sounded kind of like almost Brazilian. And what's funny now that I say that, when I said Brazilian, and since this is a fighting game, it reminded me of two themes together from two Street Fighter characters, which is Laura from SF5 and Chun-Li from Street Fighter in general. it just kind of had these like little elements, and then that whole like ding 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 had this kind of like Eastern sound. But wow, yeah, it was very. It sounds like very much a product of its time. It sounded very like mid '90s. I don't know when Virtua Fighter came out, but I know it came out around that time, right around the first gen. Do we call them first gen? You know, like the PS1 and 64 era, like 95, 96, whatever. I don't know my years, but it sounded like that, like the shift from 16-bit to. Anyways, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, I wasn't expecting this like masquerade of like electronic bass and hand percussion and just these like funky rhythms. The hand percussion kind of stole the show for me. I'm a big fan of hand percussion, especially when it sounds realistic. It doesn't sound like, you know, digital too much. And in this case, I'm not sure what it was, but it sounded realistic, and that's kind of all that mattered. But the thing that kind of like threw me off was like these vocals. They were like these like little like huh, yeah, huh, you know, kind of like these. It almost sounded like I'm not sure if VF have this, but it sounded like a crowd or like cheering or like, you know, like, which is not totally far-fetched considering it's a fighting game. Sometimes there are stages where there's just people, you know, watching and cheering and kind of like doing that. So it's totally possible, but that's what I kind of felt from that. I don't think it was the character itself doing that, because it says Jacky, and when I think Jacky, I don't think of someone that sounded like that. But man, for less than a 3-minute song, that was cool. It's, you know, the fighting game thing is my roots. If you listen to 80% of my background music as I'm talking, it's probably a fighting game. You know, before I did reactions, I used to cover like almost exclusively fighting game music on the guitar. Like for to me, fighting game music is always going to be like the like you know how like VGM is already underrated, and then and inside that little like iceberg, there's more niches. And for me, fighting game music has always been like even further down, because it's not a huge popular genre. It is, but not like not on like a mass appeal level. On like, so like let's say like, you know, Call of Duty or something like that. So, but the music has always been awesome in fighting games. Like it's like unanimous. Like even though I had no idea what this was going to sound like, as soon as I saw I'm doing Virtua Fighter, I'm like, this is going to be sick. You know, I'm like almost entirely biased towards fighting game music. I grew up with it. I love it. It's always just so cool to me. And that's why you'll always hear me talking about Street Fighter, Tekken, MK, Killer Instinct, all this stuff. And it's just like, the music is so sick. Marvel vs. Capcom, all the Marvel games. Man, to this day, a lot of people don't know this, but my second favorite OST in general is from Skullgirls, which is a fighting game. And then like in that top 5 is Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, which is also a fighting game. So it's like it holds a high regard. And then there's way more in the top 10 that I have, which I don't even have a top 10, but I know they exist. Anyways, at the end of the day, this was cool. It's kind of sad that this is my only Virtua Fighter request. Out of all these songs I have, this is the only VF. And I'm sure there's way no offense to this one at all, but I'm just saying as the confidence, I'm sure there's way better songs in the series or something. Not to say that this couldn't be the best one. I'm not trying to insinuate that. It's just with fighting game music, it's always like the last one's better than the last, and the last one's better than. So the potential has not been hit yet. I want to see what else is out there, and who knows how that's going to happen now, because I go off requests. So thank you, the BRM. That was really cool. I will always be welcoming to fighting game music any day of the week, all day. If you want to make your own request, you could do so on Patreon or PayPal. Either are totally fine. If you do not mind waiting, there is a gigantic wait list. Unfortunately, I am one person. If you do not want to wait, there is the Platinum tier, which the BRM used here to bump up the request. And a big shout out to my current supporters, Justin, Kevin, Moon Knight, DJ Singletone, Your Average Metalhead, and Mushi Mary for being part of that. Thank you guys so much. And thanks to you for watching. Let me know more about Virtua Fighter. I know you guys are out there And please let me know more, and who composed this. I didn't even talk about that. So let's dive into the VF, please. Until next time, dudes and dudettes, my name is Jesse. Later.